Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. The holiday season of makeup is upon us and there has been a lot of new launches and sets. I am still deciding which ones to purchase, but for now I have purchased an exciting eyeshadow palette from Makeup by Mario. This is the Ethereal Eyes Moonlight Palette and this looked so beautiful. The vibe of this one is very holidays, so that's why I got it. I'm going to share my thoughts on this palette in this video. If you're interested, please continue watching. I am so excited about this palette. The moment I had seen it on Trend Moods page, I think on Instagram, I was like, I need to get this palette. The shimmering effect of the shimmery shades in this palette just got me, so I got this one. I have actually got a few more palettes, so these reviews will be coming up as well. So this is the Urban Decay Moondust palette, and this also I have been eyeing to try for many years now, so it's great that there is a palette form. Then I got the Natasha Denona Roxa palette. I'm still trying it out. I haven't really tested it out fully. This video probably I will upload on Friday, Saturday, or maybe next week, so stay tuned. And another beautiful palette. This is not a holiday release, but I have been wanting to get this palette for many months now and I completely forgot about this, the Juvia's Place Coffee Shop palette, and that day I suddenly remembered. So I have got some Juvia's Place lipsticks as well and this palette, so I will do this video soon. But today let's talk about this one, the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Moonlight Palette. I have never tried anything from Makeup by Mario. I think this is my first, yes, this is my first makeup purchase from the brand, and I have always wanted to try something from the brand, and this palette was just perfect for me. This is how the palette looks like. It's a nice Makeup by Mario style packaging. This is the theme of the brand, white with black labeling. This is how the shades have been described. So this is how the palette looks like. It's super gorgeous. I am totally into like very neutral tone palettes these days. I love colors, don't get me wrong, but I am more gravitating towards neutrals. It's probably the age, I don't know. This is a very neutral palette, but there is something about it. There is an element of color also in it. So if you are someone who is scared of colors, this is something, a colorful neutral palette which you could get, and it's perfect for the holiday season. So in this palette there are 12 shades. I will give you a close-up of the palette right here, and we'll talk about the palette more in detail. But before we proceed, let me quickly show you the swatches of all the shades. Starting off with the first row of the palette, we have a satin cream, a shimmering opal, a matte mauve brown, and a metallic slate. Going to the second row now, we have a matte grey beige, shimmering bronzy gold, shimmering taupe, and a satin cool grey. Going on to the third row, a matte warm brown, shimmering golden, which I think is more like a white gold silver kind of a shade, a matte midnight blue, and a matte black. So those are all the shades which are mentioned on the website. This is the description as mentioned on the website. Now that we have seen the swatches and you have seen the palette up close, I quickly want to talk about the palette and all the shades which are in this palette individually, and probably show you some of them on my eyelids. So as per the website, there are 4 finishes in this palette. There are the iconic glossy shimmers, new suede satins, suede mattes, and natural metallics. I see a lot of shimmer finishes, they are very prominent, and a lot of mattes, they are also quite evident. But I think metallic, there is just one metallic shade and one satiny kind of shade. This is a satin matte shade. Rest are all either mattes or shimmer, glossy shimmer finishes. So the first one is a very nice cream color. It's a satiny finish. It has slight bit of a sheen to it, and it's very convenient if you have this in a palette. Then you don't have to get out a different palette to highlight anything. So for example, I really like highlighting my brow bone area, so this kind of a shade is just perfect. And this is a really nice shade, very pigmented, good for our kind of skin tone as well. I'll just show you a little bit. See, you can easily highlight the brow bone, and I love the formula of this. It has a slight bit, it's not glittery or like shimmery, slight bit of a satinness, and it just highlights the brow bone area very nicely. You can see the difference. This is highlighted, this is not, and I really like highlighting my brow bone area. Then we have the matte shades. Now there are 1 2 3 4 5 6. From the looks of it, I think those are the only matte shades in the palette. The mattes are super buttery soft. They are very much like the ABH formula, like we used to have the modern renaissance or subculture. Very soft, very intensely pigmented formula which just blends so easily. It's that kind of a formula, and I love all the matte shades. So here is a mauve color shade. This is a nice cool toned mauve shade which you can just apply all over your eyelid, and that could be your eye look as well. All of the matte shades work really well on my kind of skin tone, tan skin tone, and they show up well, so that's a good thing. Let me apply the mauve shade. Whenever I'm taking these shadows, there's just too much powderiness because they're just so soft. The shadows are just super soft, very intensely pigmented. Always like tap off the excess and then use it. And this is the mauve shade. This will be a really nice like a blending shade or a shade for the crease, but for my skin tone I think I will use it as like a blending shade, or in case if you just want some color on the eyes. Okay, and it's so nicely pigmented, it has covered the skin of my eyelid very well. Then we have this beige color which is a matte beige. This is also really powdery and intense. I mean, there's nothing much to show in this color. When you apply it, both will look very similar on my kind of skin tone, but these are two very nice blending shades which you have in this palette. So that's the gray. I just love the formula. It's so easy to blend out. Same goes for the next two matte shades which I'm going to show you. They are a little bit deeper, so I will use them in my outer V or maybe all over the eyelid. We have the gray and the brown. This is a cool tone gray shade and a warm brown. Both are nice for outer V, in the crease, for a smoky look. So let me do the gray first. They're just so soft and buttery that it just blends itself, these eyeshadows. There is a little bit of patchiness with this eyeshadow. That's because of my micellar water on the eyes, so probably that's why it's causing a little bit of patchiness. Ignore that. It blends super nicely. I'm just showing you the shade here. So that's the cool gray. Wow, that's such a nice cool gray. It will be so good for a smoky eye. This gray and the black together or the blue together, I think the tones of the colors which are in the palette, they go really well with each other. Even the shimmers go really well with the mattes, so that's a really good thing. Okay, so that's the cool gray. Let's do this is a warmish sort of a brown shade. Look at that pigmentation, and it will just apply like a veil of brown. It's so beautiful, so even. So you can do a brown smoky eye, a gray smoky eye. Just apply a little bit of brown, probably some shimmer, and deepen up the outer V. You're good to go. So that's the brown and this is the gray. It's the blues tone and the black. The black is so richly pigmented, very intense, so very careful with it. You can use that as a liner as well. Let's do the midnight blue first. This is a super nice blue, and that blue really caught my eye when I saw this palette first. And it's not a overpowering blue. You can use this. Even if you're scared of colors, you will be able to use this blue. It's sort of a neutral blue. Again, don't mind the patchiness because it's not the problem of the shadow, it's the problem of the micellar water which I have used to take off the previous eyeshadow. So there will be some patchiness in the swatch. I'm just showing you the color, so just focus on the color. Looks so good. Look at the color. It's such a beautiful blue. Let's do the last matte shade, which is the black, and then I will show you the metallic. Look at the black. Wow, it's superb. Okay, intensity of this black is just amazing. Wow. There'll be a lot of fun in blending this colors. You know, you will look forward to blending the eyeshadows because it's just so easy to do and fun to do. That's the black. It's intense black. This is the last shadow I will swatch here. So this is a metallic shade, which I think applies best if you use your fingers. It doesn't pick up that well with the brush. It's a nice slate gray kind of a color, like a slate black, ashy gray kind of a metallic shade. So that is how this one looks like. This is also really beautiful. If you are interested in colors like this, like a blue, gray, slate kind of a color. Very nice for smoky eye looks. The intensity of the metallic shade is not so much. We have seen much more intense metallic shades, but this is a more soft, intense metallic shade. It's somewhere between a satin and a metallic shade. That's what I feel about this eyeshadow, but it's very beautiful. It's nice and like wearable kind of a metallic. So those are the shades which are in this palette. I'm not going to swatch the shimmers here because they look quite similar, so you won't really understand. I will show you the shimmers in an eye look in the next part of the video. Before I go ahead and tell you what my review is, what my experience on the palette is, I know many of you would like to see the eye look. I will show you very quickly. It's a very simple eye look. I will show you very quickly how I have created this look, and then do come right back. I will tell you what I think of this palette. Okay guys, so now I will show you how I created today's look. So I will start off with a transition shade, which is this one, which I'm going to use in my look today. So this will be in the crease, and then I will use the blue shade. I'm not going to use too many mattes, just the blue is going to be a highlight. And I think this is my favorite, which is a taupey shimmer, which I just absolutely love. So I definitely want to show you that on my eyelids. Before that, let's take off this plastic from this mirror. Feels good. Okay, the mirror is really good. It's nice and big and bright, and you don't really need a lot. Done. Transition is done. Now let's do the blue. That's a lot of blue, so I'll tap off the excess. It's quite powdery. Once the eyeshadows are on, I haven't noticed that kind of fallout, and it blends right into the other matte shade. It's a nice blue. It's like a neutral sort of a blue. It's blue, but it's not too blue. Just using the blending shade again. Okay, now let's go into the shimmer. I will take the taupey shimmer right here. The shimmers are just super lightweight. They feel very slick on the pan, and I think this taupe just goes so well with the blue. And you guys know I love taupey shimmers. It's one of my favorite things. I think you can use your fingers for the best application. I'll just use a little bit of the blue in the lower lash line, and done. And that's about it. That's how I created this eye look. Now let's talk about why I got it and what do I feel about it. So I just love these glossy shimmers, which were sneak peeked on, I think, Trade Mood's page. They have this very reflected, very fine sparkling effect. It almost gives a wet look on the eyes, and I love these kind of finishes. And when I saw that this palette has these, I was just drawn towards them. So let me talk about those shades first. So these shades, they are beautiful. They are absolutely what I was looking for. They have that wet look, and they give a very beautiful shimmering, glimmering effect on the eyes, especially if you will go for holiday like outings, holiday dinners, holiday events. Your eyes are going to look really pretty. It catches the light beautifully. So that's my one word review of these shades. They are absolutely amazing. I have tried them with primer, without primer. I don't see any kind of difference in performance. They do hold up on the eyelids really well. And one good thing about this is that these kind of shadows, towards the end of the wear, you will see them like, you know, flex here, flex there, some fallout here. With this, I have seen very tiny amount. You will not see a lot of fallout after a long wear time, so that's also a plus point in this. But the only concern I would say is that they are not like super unique to each other. Actually, there are 4. I always forget this one right here. This is also there. So I talk about these 3 because these 3 are the more neutral ones, and I love these 3 the most. There is one more. So this is the only one which is a little bit different. It has that icy blue kind of effect. It's so beautiful. In fact, with this blue will look so pretty. It will have that glimmering blue effect. If you like multichromes or duochromes in blues, you are going to like this one. But for these 3 shades, I will swatch them on my fingertips again. When you swatch them like this, they do look very different, and there is a slight difference to them. This is a taupe, this is a bronzy gold, and this is like a silvery kind of a shade. There is a difference, and when you apply on the eyes, there will be a slight bit of difference, of course, but the difference is not too stark. Just keep that in mind, that you are not getting super unique kind of glimmering shades. They will look pretty similar on the eyes, especially with the shades. Suppose you have the blue eyeshadow and you have any one of these on your eyes, the eye look is not going to look something different. So they are a little bit similar in tones. I think the taupe shade is still a little bit different than these 2, but the difference is not that much. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, there is a metallic shade which is really beautiful, very smooth, and it is that soft metallic. It's not too intense. This is also a beautiful gray tone. And I've already spoken about the satin matte. It's really nice for the brow bone. The mattes, they are so soft and buttery. They are just super nicely pigmented, very soft. The only thing I would say is that if you are fair skin tone, you will have a little bit more variety in here. I think this one, and this one also can be used on fair skin tone for like deepening up the outer V, or the colors will show up a little bit better on my kind of skin tone. This one and this one, they look very similar. This one is slightly different, but this one and this one, they look very similar. So for my kind of skin tone, I think the last row works out really well. For fairer skin tone, I think they will get a lot more variety in this palette. Another thing for the mattes to note is that 2, at the most 3 matte shades will work together well when blended out. If you are planning to create very creative eye looks, I think there is a chance that the look could get a little bit, you know, too blended, too ashy, or too muddy. The colors may blend in together too much, so just be careful. If you stick to, I think, 2 shades, you will get a very pretty, beautiful, well blended eye look. There is no problem with blending these eyeshadows. They blend themselves. They're just so soft. And as I said, the wear time is really excellent on this. I have tried the blue, I have tried the black, I have tried the brown. There is slight bit of fading towards probably like 7 hours. I think that's how long I had tested these shadows. 7 hours. There will be a slight bit of fading for the matte shades, but they are still there. You know, it's not like it's completely gone or you will look crazy. It will look worn out, but it's not going to look like washed out. Another good thing I noticed is that I didn't see any creasing with the shimmer shades. Usually this kind of shades, they can give you some creases, so I didn't notice that. So that's great. Without any primer, without any like glitter glue, I didn't see any kind of creases. So that's it. And the shimmers, they just look so beautiful throughout. So I am really impressed with the quality. It's a very holiday appropriate palette. If you're looking for palettes which are neutral but they will still have a oomph, and you will get some very nice sparkly glittery eyeshadows, which is very appropriate for this time of the year. And I'm going to use this palette a lot during the holiday season, but I do think that the palette is pretty expensive. It's at $68, so the Sephora sale event will be a good time to get this palette. If you ask me if the palette is really worth it, worth the $68, I think the quality is there. You will not be disappointed with the quality of the palette. You just have to decide if these colors work out for you or not. So do let me know if you are planning to purchase this one, or if you've already got it. What are your thoughts? Do let me know. I would love to know. If you liked this video, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're watching me for the first time, I really hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again really soon in my next video. Bye.